Hey everyone, I'm back with another video. The audio quality for this video might be shit if my microphone picks up the noise from the ceiling fan. And the reason I have my ceiling fan on is because I cannot not have it on right now because it's 42 degrees Celsius. God damn, I think it's the hottest it's been this week. It usually stays at like an average of 40, but I am recording this at 3 p.m., which is around the time when it's gonna be the hottest. So yeah, if audio quality is shit, well, fuck, I don't know what else I can do about it. Let's get into the video now. I'm not very big on slice of life shows in general. I read a lot of slice of life manga like before I go to bed because it makes me feel happy. But I've also found that vanilla hentai can do the same thing and it's way more satisfying. So ultimately, I don't consume much slice of life manga either, unless of course you classify vanilla hentai as slice of life manga, then I understand. But I dislike most slice of life for the same reasons. And the reasons, I've actually put this on a notepad here. This is what me reading out of a script would look like. So the first reason is art quality. Obviously, slice of life shows, they don't really focus much on art, animation, anything like that. The compositing is usually bare minimum, mediocre stuff. All slice of life shows pretty much look the same. I'm someone who cares a lot about art quality, even if it's a fucking terrible ass show with a completely nonsensical plot. I'll be hooked from start to finish as long as it's got good animation. Number two is over-reliance on drama to keep the plot moving. Slice of life shows usually also have rom-com properties, and rom-com, it is a very fine balance between comedy and drama, and most of these shows they have terrible comedy. It's just anime in general, most anime just have bad comedy. The exceptions being like One Sensei's manga, whether it's Mob Psycho and One Punch Man, both of them have amazing comedy. But in general, comedy is just kind of shitty. Of course, there are exceptions to that rule, but for the general ass slice of life rom-com, the comedy is usually shit. And it might not even be because of the source material, it might just be the adaptation, like Nagatoro, the adaptation, anime adaptation. I did not like it at all. Thought it was really fucking cringy, even though I'm caught up to the manga and I love the manga. I think the manga has some very good humor, which is really poorly translated into anime format. They're not doing anything to improve on the manga. And if that's the case, then why the fuck would I watch the anime at all? Number three is having a macro element. Most slice of life shows just don't have this. They don't have any direction. They don't have any meaning. They're just slice of life. But I can't handle that shit. It's fucking boring. And lastly, but definitely not the least, because this is the most important thing to me in a slice of life show, and it's a good male protagonist. Most slice of life shows are infected with the PPS, or pussy protagonist syndrome. And it's just not enjoyable when the main character is a fucking pussy and has no personality whatsoever. After all that, I was very surprised because I really enjoyed two slice of life shows that aired recently. I guess not really recently, I just watched them recently, but they aired in 2021 and 2022. And it's Komi-san and My Dress Up Darling. I enjoyed both of them a lot. They're really good anime. I don't even remember what I rated them. Okay, I rated My Dress Up Darling a 9, and I rated Komi-san an 8.5, so that's very high scores. And I did that because I usually rate anime based on how much I enjoy them, and I really enjoy both of these shows. And it's for the reasons that I mentioned before. They fix all the four main issues that I generally have with slice of life shows. Let me go through them again. Art quality. My Dress Up Darling looks amazing. It's really well animated. Composite wise, there are some scenes where it just peaks with the composite. It looks fucking incredible, especially like the photo shoots. They literally explain what compositing is to the viewer. Of course, they're not explaining what compositing is, they're just explaining what filtering and stuff is in like real life photography. But here it's photography in anime, which is just compositing. And I thought that was really cool. And for the most part, it's just really well animated. I wouldn't call it the best animated slice of life show ever made, because I can't give that title to any show because I simply haven't watched enough slice of life shows. But if every single episode was on par with episode 8, then this would probably be the best animated slice of life show ever made, because episode 8 is just fucking gorgeous looking. And it never really reaches that same quality. I would say episode 1, episode 2, episode 8, and then episode 12, the final episode. Episode 11 was also very good, but for the other episodes, it goes up and down. And for Komi, it's not the animation where it shines. even though there are sequences where the animation just goes bonkers, amazing Sakuga sequences, it's just some really impressive background animation, really cool character acting, and even impact frames in a fucking slice of life show. It's really well done. And of course, the opening. The opening is just so fucking gorgeous. One of my favorite openings, maybe ever visually. It's just so good. Not just the animation, while incredible, especially the background animation is just so fucking good. But the art direction is also so amazing in the opening. I wouldn't mind if the entire show looked like this. With the super matte, vibrant color palette, it just looks fucking amazing. The composite is good for like the first episode, but for the other episode, it's just up and down. But yeah, as far as a slice of life show goes, it's amazing. And episode 1 is really where it peaks, particularly with the storyboards and the editing. Most people had concerns, the manga readers, they had concerns with the anime adaptation of Komi-san because Komi-san, the manga, really takes full advantage of the medium of manga, that is. And the people who worked on anime, they just did the perfect job with the fucking anime. They just took the manga and elevated that in every way possible. This is what bringing the manga to life should mean. Not the fucking Way of the House Husband, which is literally just manga panels with voice acting. That is dog ass. It's not an anime adaptation. It's an insult to very good anime adaptations like this one. And the editing in Komi-san is also really fucking impressive. Editing is very important for comedic timing. Komi-san, especially the first episode, has brilliant comedic timing. It's just actually really fucking hilarious, which is, as I said before, it's rare in anime, which is also my next point, which is good comedy. And both of these shows do comedy very well. My Dress Up Darling can be extremely fucking hilarious and also just be wholesome. And even when it's wholesome, I'm just fucking grinning like a 13-year-old girl in 2013 when the new One Direction video airs. But yeah, the comedy in My Dress Up Darling is really good. And in Komi-san, there are segments that are just not funny, but I'm still grinning, as I said before, because it's not bad and it's always wholesome. There aren't really very cringy segments, but there are times when the comedy doesn't hit. I think that's why I rated it 8.5 instead of 9. Also the inconsistent art, but it's still very good. If you want to watch another show that has very good comedic timing, I would recommend Hinamatsuri. Hinamatsuri is like, I don't think I would call it slice of life. It is as unrealistic as it is relatable. And it's just a balance that never breaks, and just Hinamatsuri does that perfectly. It also has fantastic art quality, so yeah, go for that. Hinamatsuri is one of my favorite shows of all time. I am still hopeful for season 2. I don't care what you say. I don't care if it was just a fucking promotion material for the manga. I'm not gonna read the manga. I am going to wait for the anime adaptation. Hinamatsuri season 2, I believe in it, god damn it. Next is the macro element. Both these shows have an overarching plot, which is a necessity. If there is no overarching plot, you cannot keep the viewer hooked. Unless, of course, the viewer likes the slice of life element of the show, which is just nothing. Just watching people do people things. But in My Dress Up Darling, the macro element is all about cosplay. You learn so much about cosplay in this. I learned way more about cosplay in this than I would have otherwise known about cosplay. Take Mob Psycho, for example. It wouldn't be far-fetched to call Mob Psycho a slice of life show. It's more slice of life than more slice of life shows. It's really relatable. It's really amazing. But the overarching plot is not the slice of life element. You're always waiting for the next big moment when mob goes 100% or even question mark percent and shit goes down. And for My Dress Up Darling, that 100% is what the cosplay is. A successful cosplay that is just shown to us, and we are just blown away with the presentation because it really was that good. Particularly the first cosplay. The first cosplay has 4 episodes of build-up, and then the 5th episode is just the payoff, and it's just so fucking amazing. For the rest of the episodes, the cosplay element actually goes down a bit. It just takes a backseat while we focus more on the characters themselves, and I think that's great, because if we kept focusing on the same elements of the cosplay component, it would get repetitive and boring. But every time something new happens, for example, the idea of Marine showing too much skin, that is explored. The idea of using simplistic characters and making cosplay outfits for said simplistic characters, but you're making it in real life, so you actually have to design the clothes yourself. That is explored. Something new is explored with every cosplay. The macro element is always progressing while the micro element is also progressing simultaneously, which is, of course, the relationship between the characters themselves, which in this case cannot be really classified as a micro element or anything. It's like both of these are equally balanced in Minor Subdarling. And similarly, in Komi Can't Communicate, the macro element is just that. Komi can't communicate. And again, really well done first episode. It's really a masterpiece of a first episode. Movie quality with the storyboard, the animation, the composite, and the editing, as I said before. But it just sets up the show perfectly. It's one of the best first episodes I've seen in anime. And I don't say that lightly. It's up there with, like, I would say Made in Abyss's first episode, fucking amazing. One Punch Man's first episode, also incredible. Fire Force's first episode, fucking breathtakingly amazing. Fire Force's first episode is really underrated. It's fucking incredible. Unfortunately, the show burns itself out with the first episode and then just rides on the remaining embers for the rest of them. It goes down from a solid 10 on 10 to like a 7 on 10 for the rest of the episodes. But still, the first episode is amazing. And Komi is similar. It goes down from the first episode, but the first episode is amazing. And it's not like the rest of the episodes are bad either. The macro element always progresses with is Komi making new friends, which is also the micro element, like the character progression. So the micro element, the macro element is one and the same here, and it's just done really well. Let's take two other shows, for example, that's airing right now. Number one is Aharen-san. So the first episode, it just sets up everything that Aharen-san cannot really talk very loudly, and you know what you're going in for. You're going for cute lolly ASMR. And I was pretty hyped. It's really cute, it's really wholesome. I can't wait for episode 2. What do I get in episode 2? Cute lolly ASMR. What do I get in episode 3 though? Cute lolly ASMR. Okay. Where the fuck will the story go from here? Nowhere. Because it does not have a direction. Every slice of life show needs a gimmick to keep the viewer interested. And if that gimmick is just wears off really quickly, why would you watch it? It's like any other slice of life show ever made. Horimiya is a good example of that. What is the gimmick that Horimiya has? Horimiya has the gimmick that people are not what they appear to be. Hori is actually this big sis character who just takes care of her house and shit. And Miyamura, he looks like a nerd, but he's actually not a nerd. He's actually a very cool guy because he wears piercing and stuff. And that is completely abandoned halfway into the story. So why the fuck is the purpose of Horimiya? If the only gimmick that it has is abandoned halfway to the show, then there's nothing to keep it going. And the micro element is pretty good in Horimiya. It's just a natural relationship between Hori and Miyamura, which is also fucking abandoned halfway into the show. I couldn't go past episode 9. It was just really, really boring. And I'm pretty sure that if it aired right now, like after Minor Subdarling and stuff, it wouldn't be as popular. We are seeing that firsthand with Shikimori is Not Just a Cutie. It's a good show, but it's not as good as Komi and Minor Subdarling. Because let's look at Shikimori is Not Just a Cutie. What is the gimmick here? It is that Shikimori is not just a cutie. What else could she be? She can be like a cool person and stuff. So how long does a novelty last for? Not very long. And what else do we have? Nothing. It doesn't necessarily lose its gimmick, but it just gets stale very quickly and it has nothing to keep it going. Even though I think it's way better than Horimiya, people are not liking it much because we've seen slice of life shows that have a good direction now with Minor Subdarling and Komi-san. And lastly, we have a good male protagonist. I hate viewer insert protagonists in any medium except video games. In video games, it's fine. I also hate it in hentai. Like in most vanilla doujins, you'll see that there are no eyes for the male character because the male character is designed to be a viewer insert or reader insert character. I just fucking hate that. I want a story. I'm a pretty sad person. I'm a sad existence of a being. But I'm not pathetic, especially not pathetic enough to want to put myself in the shoes of a hentai protagonist to feel better of myself. And if you actually enjoy that shit, work on self-improvement. Again, let's look at some examples where it's executed poorly. I don't need to look any further from Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie. This is the definition of a pussy protagonist with absolutely zero character. He's a fucking cardboard cutout for pathetic middle-aged neckbeards to go, oh, look at that guy. I look exactly like him when I was in high school. So I could have scored a girlfriend like Shikimori if I was in his place, but unfortunately I'm not. But I can feel like that because I'm watching the show. It fucking sucks. Not only because of the idea of what you're doing here, but it also sucks from a story standpoint. The story will end up being shit when you have a useless fucking main character. Oh, you don't actually know about that. In the manga, he actually gets better. Okay. So what? I'm not going to keep watching. There's nothing, there's no macro element that is forcing, that's making me watch the show. It's fucking boring. I'm not going to wait around till the main protagonist does something. It's really such a shame too, because I want to watch this show because it actually looks very good, especially the opening. The opening is fucking gorgeous. I'd put it at the same level as like Komi-san's opening, but I just can't watch it with his protagonist. It's just not enjoyable. Now let's look at My Dress Up Darling's main character. Gojo is not a viewer insert character, not at all. First of all, he's not an otaku, which is like blasphemy for any self-insert or character insert protagonist. I think self-insert and character insert are different. Self-insert would be like if the writer is inserting themselves into the story, and character insert is like a fucking blank slate character made for the purpose of the viewer to insert themselves into the show. But yeah, Gojo is not a viewer insert. He has key traits that make him unique. Of course, there are some situations where he's a bit of a pussy, but he always gets the job done. He's a really good human being and is also 15 years old. When I think about what I used to be like when I was 15, he is not a forcefully constructed, relatable character. He is a character who is relatable. First and foremost, he is a character. He feels like a real person, and he just has traits that are relatable to most people. And even if you are his polar opposite, you'll find traits that you can relate to, or you'll find ideas, I should say, that you can relate to. And that is exactly what I want from a story. He is a relatable character who has his own personality. And if you have a personality, you feel more like a person. And on Komi-san, we have Tadano, who is literally the embodiment of just some guy. His name is literally just some guy. He's again a character that is written really well. First and foremost, he has a personality. The reading the room idea, halfway into the show, I realized that it's not just a metaphor that he can read the room. He can literally read the speech bubbles and the text bubbles that are on screen when people are thinking. That's why he can make out what Komi is saying all the time. Yeah, and that is just such a unique idea. Also, character design is very important, and character design helps a lot with constructing a character's personality itself. Like when you see King from One Punch Man, you immediately knew, damn, that's a fucking badass. And you are right. Tadano gives off the impression of someone who's just some guy, while also being a completely unique character design, which can be said for literally every single character design in Komi-san. I think Komi-san has an amazing array of character designs. And when you look at My Dress Up Darling, the mangaka definitely spent a lot of time to make sure that he looks unique while also keeping that just some guy look about him. One of the unique traits he has is a beauty mark. You don't see that generally with guys, especially with characters who are made to look simple. You never see that with characters like that. A beauty mark is reserved for characters who you want to make look special, for like Kyoko from Haikyuu. Kyoko is a hot character and it's driven into us multiple times. And to just give that extra oomph for her attractiveness, the mangaka just threw a beauty mark on her face. On the other hand, we have Gojo, a character who's made to look simple, not explosively attractive, but he also has the beauty mark. Because why not? If he was made as a blank slate, he would not have a beauty mark. He would look like fucking Kirito. Look at Kirito. Kirito is a fucking cardboard cutout of the average person. Oh, Kirito has dark hair, is average height, and is good at video games? That is literally me. Gojo is tall. He has physical traits. Full stop. And again, let's use Shikimori as an example. Look at the main protagonist. If that isn't the embodiment of what a beta is supposed to look like, I don't know what is. And his character design is not even unique. I'm pretty sure I've seen him in another anime. Except in that anime, he was actually a Chad. So yeah, that about sums all of it up. I really, really enjoyed My Dress Up Darling and Komi-san. I haven't watched Komi-san's second season yet. I'm done with exams, so I'm gonna start fucking binging anime again. I'll start with Komi-san maybe. I also need to watch Spy X Family. I also need to watch Kaguya-sama. Fuck. Keep forgetting about that. But Kaguya-sama, I can probably binge that in a fucking day. Kaguya-sama is one of my favorite shows of all time. So yeah. There are also other points like the female lead. Pretty important. But female leads are usually good in most shows anyway. But My Dress Up Darling really takes the cake with Marin. Marin is just so fucking amazing. Komi is just a fucking cinnamon toast. I fucking love both of them. But yeah, really good female leads. Notice how I'm not calling them waifus, because they are not waifus. I couldn't think of them as my waifus. because I ship them with their respective male leads, which just goes to show how important these male leads are in their stories. I wouldn't ship anyone other than Gojo with Murray. Let's look at another fucking example like Rent a Girlfriend. Would you ship the main characters in that show? I think that's why the bitch character in that show is so popular, because not because she is good, not because everyone takes her as their waifu, but people ship her with the main character because they're perfect for each other. They're both rotten pieces of shit. I do plan on watching more slice of life shows. I think Fruit Basket is pretty cool. I don't think the animation is very good from the few clips I've seen, but it's fine as long as the macro element is good. The animation does not really need to carry a slice of life show. It's just a bonus. To me, it's very important because I care about animation a lot, but yeah, that's about it. If you have any more slice of life recommendations, go for it. I really disliked Bunny Girl Senpai. I thought it was shit, and it's an extremely overrated show. I hated Toradora. I just fucking hated the main girl. She's just insufferable. And some of the character decisions, just they make no sense. So now you probably understand what my taste in slice of life shows is like. So if you do have recommendations, go ahead. I'll probably check it out after I'm done with the fucking huge list of anime that I have to watch. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you did not like it, leave a dislike and tell me down in the comment section what I can do to improve. In fact, you can tell me whatever the fuck you want in the comment section. That's what it's for. If you want to see more of this shit, subscribe. Next video is going to be animation analysis on Fire Force. And that's about it. Thanks for the views.